Hello everyone, this is an energy update and overview coming to you here in mid-September. So today on the 17th of September, there is a super new moon, and super moons are known to be extra intense, let's just say, because the moon is technically, physically closer to Earth. So it's just like when someone goes and walks right up to your face. You're going to notice it, right? Compared to when they step back a bit more at a normal distance or social 1.5 distance. So the supermoon's right up on your face and it's saying, hello, here I am. And what is the moon energy about? It is always about emotions, sensitivity. It's a very feminine energy as well. It's very illuminating. It's entirely intuitive. So I want to say that the intensity does not have to be in a negative way, depending on where you're at the moment. So you might actually experience it a little bit more negatively, as in just feeling a little bit irritated and tense, thinking, oh, why do I just feel so shitty, or, a bit curt or tired also, exhausted, overwhelmed, that kind of thing. If not otherwise, it can be just that sense of that you're really in touch with your intuitive thoughts and actually also having really vivid and heightened dreams lately. Have you discovered that? You might also feel like there's a bit of a shift happening, or there's like change in the air. Is there some kind of upgrade happening? It doesn't have to be a super upgrade, but it's like a 0.25 of an upgrade, put it that way. The angels are showing me a picture of, when you have an iPhone and you receive an upgrade or something like that, or like even a new phone and it's the next number up, right? And they're saying it's not quite the next number up, but we're like a quarter or something like that the way there. So that's an interesting one. Apart from that sense of tiredness, you might have had, really restless nights, or just feeling restless in general. A lot of stuff coming up to the surface in a big way. So that's what super moons do. It's really a time to really look at where you're at, what needs to be released, what are you holding in, what's coming up for you, and also being a new moon and plus super new moon. Also just generally in this month in general, with the energy the way it is and how it is a bit of a shift from August, definitely, which I dubbed the August as the month, the dark month of the soul. No, what was it? Hang on. Normally we say dark night of the soul, so I called it the dark month of the soul, because it was a bit of an intense one, just a tad. So apart from that, we also have an upcoming equinox on the 22nd. So I really suggest in the next few days, weeks, it's really time to go inwards, heal, contemplate, meditate, take time for yourself, and also recharge and just notice what's happening and shifting, because the angels are literally showing me now like clockwork and like pieces, not quite clockwork, how would I say? There's a movie where there's an old man and there's all these clocks and it's the pieces that look like, what do you call those things, like not like wing nuts, I can't think of the technical term, but the technical little metal hexagon-y kind of pieces that twist and turn, and that kind of thing, and all the cog works, that's what they're showing me. And so there's this notion that they are moving and that this kind of system is chugging along. And so it's just showing to me that there's a series of moving parts. So you're not quite feeling whole. It's just like there's pieces. And I think that you would resonate with that. If you're very ungrounded, you're going to feel scattered, possibly at the moment. But I don't feel like that's quite it. It's a scatteredness in terms otherwise of just these pieces still to come together, and not forming a full resonance yet, but you're getting hints of resonances, if that makes sense. and noticing. And I really feel even just in the last few months, if not weeks, if not recently or in times to come, there's just this feeling of things changing, and you might actually be quite surprised at how different they've ended up. And I'm talking just generally, for example, it could be a work thing or some plans that you had, and or just, whatever it is for you, but it's like you realize that you could actually just let go of something that wasn't working for you, which is something I was talking about in my last energy update. Which is quite profound, because we really tend to, as humans in this world of lots of cogwheels, we do tend to hold on to things and really want to, not let go for fear, right? But, sometimes the smarter thing to do is to let it go, depending what it is, if that is right, and that things can change and show a newer picture, a newer face, and that newer face is much better than the previous one. So there is also this aspect of sort of transformation happening, but it's a series of parts. So that's the important thing to remember for now. There's a great theme of light and darkness at the moment, and just, in recent times, and on Earth in general. And with this equinox on the 22nd, which is an important date on its own, 22 being a master number. This recording I'm actually doing on a voice recorder, and it said recording number 22. So, the kinds of number signs that happen. As I speak right now, it's 9:09 p.m. and it's the 17th, and I have been receiving the number sequence of 1717 as a sign, as a number sign, now for about a month or two. And it's a number that I had never seen before. I see a lot of different numbers. If not 1111, then, lots of different ones like 44, 333, 55, all sorts of different numbers. But 1717 is a new one for me. So this has been really interesting. Today being the 17th, I do also feel that's significant. And I feel with this that we are each on our own individual journey. That's the number 1 there. And then we have the number 7, which represents our spiritual growth, our spiritual essence. And I feel that is reflaming, if you like, regrowing, rebirthing, rekindling. And so this equinox time is an ideal time to go back within and recharge and bring back that spiritual life force energy for yourself and your reconnection to soul and spirit. There's that great theme of rebirth, which is really apt also with this big super new moon. So the light and darkness that I mentioned, apart from it being a general life theme and, sort of COVID, World War III theme, there's with the equinox, depending on whether you're north or southern hemisphere. However, if it's a spring equinox, like it is for me down under here, it's all about the light and the sun and illumination and remembering where we're from, a resonance of returning to home, our spiritual home, and a feeling of a new light and a new life, in a way, new beginnings. And for those of you who are experiencing autumn equinox, you're preparing for the darkness, a longer period that's with the upcoming winter, when nights get longer than days because the sun is diminishing. And so we have, this kind of rising sun down here and a diminishing sun up there. And this is how the earth is balanced between light and dark, rising, falling, and so on. Everything is about balance and duality. So it is a time to face your own darkness, face your shadows, face the kind of metaphorical death that we talk about in spirituality, which doesn't necessarily have to mean literal death, although it can be, but endings, the ending of chapters, what is it you wanting to close off and recognize, so that a new dawn, so that you can prepare for a new dawn to arise. But it's very much about incubation also. So lots of reflection, lots of inner work. And either way, up or down, spring or autumn, I really do feel, as I said at the beginning of this recording, that it really is a time of renewal and inner work, going within and reflecting and just absorbing things and the sort of new light that is on the horizon. It's also a form of a kind of rebalancing and recalibration. Because don't expect it to go all smooth sailing, okay? I do feel like September is a bit up and down, not really drastically, as previously, but interesting changes are definitely happening. So if we look back a little, if you recall May, how things were for you then, there was actually a lot of retrograde action happening then, which, can be quite intense when a lot of planets are in retrograde, and that's when you feel like you're going backwards or you're not moving forwards. I did mention in my last video that on September 13th, after being retrograde for a while, the planet of Jupiter was now about to move forward, and I did mention how it was just stationary at that time, and it's like what I said about the moon being close to Earth. It's like a hello, here I am, right? And so, Jupiter is a massive planet of, it really represents expansion. And there's so much that I actually wanted to say this year for 2020. I actually was going to do a whole presentation on 2020 energy, and it just never happened for me for a number of reasons. With COVID, everything kind of going backwards and upside down, and it really has been a spanner in the works. And also just health-wise, I just haven't, and work-wise. So I was really inundated with a lot of work, got really burned out, and I've had a lot of health issues as well. Just my ongoing thing, because I get migraines constantly, a lot. So I never got to do this thing, and it was like, and actually speaking of dumping a project and making a change, that's an example of one. I was going to do a whole thing about the energy of 2020. I had so much to say, just couldn't do it, and I just had to dump it because in late July, I realized when I was speaking with someone, and we had a bit of a laugh, and I said, I still have to do my energy of 2020. And I'm thinking now, well, hang on a minute, there's only several months to go left of this year, right? And the months just keep creeping by. However, what I will say for now is, and I am hoping that I can somehow get energy information through, more of it. But it's overwhelming because there's just so much that I can't barely keep up with myself, let alone anything else. But I try my best. Okay, so Jupiter, put it this way, Jupiter is this planet of great expansion, which is a beautiful word. Energetically, it's just so freeing, right? Because the opposite of expansion is restriction. And so when the planet is backwards, you're feeling more of the uptightness of it, because your natural the natural flow is to want this expansion, and yet you're experiencing the reverse of that. And it's so like it sucks you back. And so it's like trying to move away from a vacuum cleaner, which is like sucking you up. So, and then there's so much more other energy that is around it. So this year there's a strong dominating Capricorn energy, the domination of the planet Saturn, and all of this is a constrictive, restricting energy, right? And hello, COVID, that is just a case in point for restrictions, right? And so it's like restriction, and but the natural want and the overarching other higher energy is expansion, but you can't because you're restricted. So whenever Jupiter gets a chance to break free and do its thing, it's like, we feel this instant like relief and like some changes happening right now. So, but there's so much always going on, and there's always, so many different planetary things happening, things with the moon, solar activity, space weather, this other thing called the Schumann resonance, which I'll have to get into another time. But there has been spikes in this kind of higher energy on Earth happening at various intervals, and it's just been going up and up and up. And, even as I speak now, hopefully you get to feel that sort of higher energy, right? And then at the same time, we have earth matters, we have environmental factors, we have so many influences. And then on top of that, we have, what I refer to a fair bit, I guess, which is the darker energy. And that can be a spiritual thing, and it can also be negative people in power who are doing all sorts of nefarious stuff. Okay. September 29th is another date that's kind of like a standout for a number of reasons. So firstly, I mentioned in my last video that I think I'd made the video on 9/11, and it was the 19th year anniversary of the event. And, another thing that I forgot to mention, because, sometimes, especially if I haven't made a recording for a while or for various reasons, but sometimes there's just so many things. But the other thing that I wanted to mention there that I'd forgotten is, see the connection also. I talked about 9/11, and then that is a date. 19 years later, we have an anniversary. And then we have COVID-19, again, another 19, right? Now, 1 is about new beginnings and starts, and 9 is about endings. So imagine this kind of like a 0 point or a non-event where things are ending and starting all at once. Like this is just coming through right now, but the angels showed me literally I want to do a clap, so I'm just going to do that now. Sorry for the noise. Right, and that clap is they're showing me that's 1 and 9 together. So endings, beginnings, all at once, and they're showing me it's like a flatlining a timeline. I don't know where we're going with this right now, but they've just thrown this in. So let's see. Let me try to make sense of this. So there's some kind of connection with collapsed time. We have there's this idea of quantum jumping of different timelines that we can move into, parallel universes, all this kind of thing. And, timelines can fold and as new ones form or become the dominant ones. But they're showing me that 9/11, sorry, I just got a really big whack of emotional energy there. Gosh, oh my God. Okay, so just feeling that event right now and all the people who had passed. So they're showing me that there was some kind of deliberate collapse of a timeline. I don't fully understand this message right now, but I can tell you that it's highly emotional and it's and powerful. It's coming through in some kind of new way. Okay, so the idea is the feeling of it is it's like a portal where those who had passed over, it's like they're in some weird way, it's like they're coming through again now to deliver messages, to say, this is a time on Earth, it's the same. Okay, sorry. Now it's like a 9/11 on Earth. They're saying the whole of Earth, like humanity, where the focus was before on one day, one event, one number, which the saying was not one number, it was a series of numbers, and there were a lot of number references. Now it is an extended period of time, but it's very much mirroring in a different way, where 9/11 was also one location, one event, even though it had universal global implications and connections. This also has global and universal implications, but it's more widespread, and it is like there's a mini series of, they're showing me like 9/11s everywhere. Okay, so I am not a foreteller of doom and gloom. That's not what I believe in. So getting this pop-in of a message, think of it more as a metaphor, as a spiritual message with meaning. Never any kind of negative warning or terrible, portending of doom. that's not what I'm about, and also that's not how spirit works truly, in the truest sense of the word, when you're aligned with God and the higher realms and everything that is true, eternal, and light. Wow, so I think we've just gone on a bit of a ride, because I feel like I was just telling you that, you know, do you feel the light? And then all of a sudden, we go right down with that. So, you know, what really they're showing me, there's some kind of connection with timelines, and they're showing me now like there's a train ride or train tracks, and there's different train tracks. Okay. And then I'm also seeing a train derail. So this could represent an actual event of a train derailing. It could, like an accident. It could represent one that's already been. Again, they're showing me like this overlaying of time, like past, present, and future. It's really interesting. Or it could just be a metaphor. But as I'm speaking now, like I feel like my whole throat is bung up. Like there's a lot of energy in the throat area. There's a lot wanting to be expressed and released. By the way, I just looked at the time and it said 21:11, which is 9:11. And that's just the amount of minutes and seconds on the voice recording. So I really didn't know where this was going, and I'm just going along with whatever comes out, guys. So don't shoot the messenger, okay? I really was on the topic of September 29th. Okay, so September 29th. So I went back to the 9/11 thing. I mentioned in my last video that you know, like these people in power who, I mean, 9/11 was by no mistake. It's not what we're led to believe, and that the people who are involved in this are absolutely obsessed with numbers, okay? And they invert numbers, let's just say. They use the negative side of it. And so that's why I'd mentioned also that it really was very meaningful, this 19 years later thing. So I'll be looking for events around this time, and it could be around any time, could be around any 9-day, 11-day. I mean, there's all sorts of different numerological and planetary things that, you know, you could drive yourself nuts working out. But just, you know, things happening, yes, for sure. Okay, so definitely feel that. My throat's just clenching up. Ugh. So let's just go back. I feel like I can't even say I need a break. Just a second. I'm just getting bombs. Gosh, oh man. Okay, so I really wasn't expecting this. So bombs, explosions. At some point in the year, I've mentioned something like that before, and there was things that were happening of that nature. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, my whole stomach's clenching. So whatever's going on, I don't know. And, you know, this could be stuff we hear about. This could be stuff we don't hear about. I really don't know. Okay, so I was on the topic of September 29th. And so September being 9, 29 is an 11-day because 2 plus 9 is 11. So it's like another form of 9/11. So that's a standout date, but just for that reason alone. And also 9 plus 11 is like 9 plus 2, which is 11 again. So on that particular day, Saturn is going direct, and it's ending 4 months of being in retrograde. So this is what I've been leading up to, because there's been these series of like retrogrades. And so Saturn is very tied in with Capricorn, and that's that restrictive energy, okay? And in retrograde, it's just like, right? And so this really has been in the backdrop of our lives. So I think we're going to feel this outside of, though, I'm very conflicted, because I feel like whatever negative events there might be, or negative whatever, there's this like great release, and like, yay, Saturn's now going to go direct and we can be more free, right? but at the same time, that perhaps it's like the build up to it, or the period around it or on it is like intense. So you might be going through a sudden like intensity and feeling deeply and like a resistance before you can move forward. So I guess this makes sense now, because when I was saying before it's going to be up and down, it was hard for me to like spot it, but now I can really feel it. So there's the potential for an intensity and like really going inwards in that more intense way, like a brewing, like man cave, and aloofness too, which is interesting that I said that, because Capricorn's actually known to be quite aloof. And, and also the planets of Mars and Saturn are really close to each other. In my last video I was mentioning, Mars is really like this war-like planet. And so with Saturn together, and Saturn governing time, interesting that, because every now and again I mention Saturn being analogized to time, chronology, and I mentioned that the clocks before as a metaphor that came up. So interesting. I just think now that perhaps that also has some resonance with Saturn. Okay, so then after Saturn goes direct, the sort of like towards the end of September and early October sometime, Pluto will be then going direct. So Pluto is another massive effectual, if that is a word, energy of a planet. Can be quite intense too and powerful, and it's also it's had different periods of the year where things have happened. So I'll go into that down the track if it's relevant, but for now let's put things in perspective. So I've mentioned now we have this super new moon, which is actually in Virgo at the moment on the 17th, and it's kind of like opening up this doorway, this kind of gateway of a series of supermoon energies. So in October and November, we will have more supermoons, okay? So there'll be 3 in a row. 3 being a sacred number, the Trinity being all about balance, just like the triangle, and a very holy number. So 1, 2, 3, 3 in a row, just like we had 3 eclipses not that far back. Okay, so think of it this way. So September, October, November, heading in with these sort of powerful super moons. Then in December, we're going to have a total solar new moon eclipse. I think there's another eclipse in November too. Anyway, I'll be talking about that more down towards, the end of the year. We're going to have light coming in the air, in the next while, and with the equinox, and then we're going to have this bit of like a doom, right, or whatever goes on, and then, light again. So yeah, like I said, really ups and downs. And why don't we just add something else to the mix? It's kind of like this, what do they call it? Molotov cocktail. Let's just go and add in the nice potent liquor of Mercury retrograde to the mix, and that will be happening in October. So around, I think it's October 13th till about November 13th, we have a different kind of intensity with Mercury in retrograde. Okay, so we finally get some direct action happening, and then some retro comes in to go, yeah, sorry, you had it good for too long. A few days, and now we're going to go backwards again. However, we do have Pluto going direct. So let's just see what comes up with that, perhaps in one of the next few videos that I do. One thing to watch out for too is in October, there's a full moon in Taurus at the end of October, and that is, as far as I know, if I'm correct about this, I might need to double check it, but I think there is, and that is on Halloween, right? And that is a very occultish day. So yeah, a bit of an ominous one with that one being a full moon as well, because, the negative, they get up to no good. I'll just leave it at that with that. I don't really want to get more into that stuff for today. Okay, so then in mid-November, as Mercury retrograde ends and starts to go forward, then Mars goes direct. Okay, yes, we've had this Mars in retrograde thing. Okay, so that will also be a bit of a shift there. But on November 12th, so around this time too, Jupiter, that great planet of expansion, is conjuncting with Pluto. So that's when I'll probably have things to say, all right? So then at the end of November, we've got a lunar eclipse happening, full moon in Gemini, and then we're going to start that whole eclipse series, late November, December, and so on. So there's going to be a lot of action then, a lot of more truth revelations and all that stuff, not to mention the elections. Isn't that November 11th, which is 11/11, from my memory? And and we know that there's going to be a lot of chaos leading up to that. So you can imagine we're in this cocktail soup of crazy. So it'll be really interesting to see how things progress. So remembering that Mars has been in retrograde starting September 9th, which is 9/9, to November 13th. Funnily enough, I just had to pause there because I thought, why do I feel like that's Friday the 13th? So I went and had a look on the calendar. And yes, November the 13th is Friday the 13th. And for some reason, that's important also. So, or a thing, okay. So with Mars retrograde, that's that feeling that we've been getting, okay, of that antsy, angry, depressed, but also reflective. So that's that important element too. Okay, so I think there was a lot there. So, I just really wanted to give an overview, not just of September, but also, what's upcoming? Where are we going here? But as I said before, there's often so many things. So let's just see what happens, in the ongoing updates, and just generally what happens. We don't know everything always, right? Just like this year, who knew that this year would be as it is, right? So let me know how you're going, how things are for you, what's coming up for you, and so on. All right, so talk soon. Thanks for listening. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll speak to you soon.